As you may know by now, Eversource plans on building a power station on 290 Railroad Avenue, the current home of Pet Pantry Warehouse. As this project is in the proposal phase, Greenwich residents are being asked for their opinion. It is for this reason that we, Greenwich for Alternative Substation Placement, also known as GASP, have put together the following presentation to help you understand the impact that Eversource's proposal will have on our community. Before we go into our presentation, we'd like to introduce ourselves. We are a community group consisting of local residents, concerned citizens, and local businesses, including the Pet Pantry Warehouse. We have united to preserve the quality of life currently enjoyed in our corner of downtown Greenwich. We hope you will consider what we have to say and join the fight to stop Eversource's proposal to transform our neighborhood for the worse. Eversource's proposal consists of two major components. One, a 115 kilovolt bulk substation at 290 Railroad Avenue, which is to be a twin to the Cobb facility. Two new underground transmission lines to connect the Cobb facility through historic Bruce Park to the proposed bulk station. To accommodate the two transmission lines, Eversource may use horizontal directional drilling, resulting in a trench with an average depth of 6 feet and a width of 4.5 feet to be cut into the ground. Moreover, chemicals may be injected into the ground to clear rock. Eversource's rationale for this proposal is that 1. It increases the reliability of power supply during peak summer usage, as Eversource would be able to offload power from its primary bulk station in Cobb to a secondary station as circuits become taxed. 2. Existing Greenwich power substations already operate near peak capacity. 3. It places the bulk station in the area of greatest need, that being downtown Greenwich and Byram. And 4. It provides capacity to meet Greenwich's growing energy demand. These are our concerns. The Greenwich Architectural Review Board asked Eversource to integrate its structure into the community, that is, to fit in. This building is Eversource's answer. This is a multi-generational eyesore. The substation will be surrounded by fencing that looks like this. Again, this is how Eversource seeks to fit into our community. To us, this looks like a prison yard. This is only suitable for society's seediest elements, not Greenwich families. Despite the fence's hostile appearance, the transformers and transmission equipment remain clearly visible from Railroad Avenue and from Field Point Road, just above Bridge Street, all the way down to Horseneck Lane, just outside Bellhaven. This will leave visitors with a lasting impression as they exit our town onto the I-95 on-ramp. Not only is this proposal ugly, it's dangerous, seriously dangerous. This was made clear to us a few weeks ago. On June 18th, a transformer caught on fire at the Cobb substation. The fire raged for over 90 minutes with flames shooting 20 feet into the air while firefighters stood idly by. Why? They had to wait for an Eversource employee to drive down from Milford to shut down the power plant. This incident made us aware of 3 facts that highlight the dangers of this proposal. 1. Transformers catch fire and explode on their own accord with alarming frequency, probably because of the high voltages and the petroleum that transformers contain. Do a Google search on transformer fires and explosions, and do the same on YouTube. You'll get scores of hits. It is clear that the Cobb incident is not an anomaly. We have provided links to 2 other recent Eversource transformer incidents. 2. Unlike the Cobb facility, which is next to a public park, the proposed power plant will be sited next to Airgas, which manufactures highly flammable gases like propane and specialized gases used for welding equipment. As you can see in the Airgas picture, There are warnings about open flames and smoking. This is a serious public safety issue waiting to happen, and you can't say you weren't warned. 3. Given the dangers, the 90-minute response time from Eversource to turn off the power station is unacceptable. Time is not a luxury due to the combustible materials at neighboring air gas. Choosing 290 Railroad Avenue places the substation next to air gas and the New Haven Line Railroad. The fact that the combustible elements at the substation and air gas will be next to the railroad where thousands of commuters ride to and from New York City every day can only be charitably described as imprudent, as it puts energy and transportation infrastructure as well as human life at risk. A single event, whether it's weather, a malfunctioning transformer, a freak accident, can result in a human tragedy of enormous proportion, the kind you hear on cable news for weeks. This site has the kind of potential that makes it intriguing to terrorists, anti-government types, and vandals who don't have to expend much effort to do great harm. As mentioned earlier, the proposed substation is to be placed next to the New Haven line. The Connecticut Department of Transportation has already voiced its opposition. The DOT is concerned that such a structure will get in the way of it being able to improve I-95 and the New Haven line to relieve current congestion and to accommodate future growth. The DOT has even gone so far as to warn Eversource that if it were to build on 290 Railroad Avenue, that may be asked in the future to relocate the substation at its own expense. As discussed earlier, there is no benefit or need for that substation to be next to the New Haven line or air gas. In addition to being a public safety risk, this is a public health risk. EMF has been associated with cancer, chromosomal damage, heart disease, as well as other health problems. Putting this kind of health hazard in the middle of Greenwich's most densely populated areas could transform downtown into a cancer hotspot. Connecting the Cos Cob power plant to the proposed one will require digging up historic Bruce Park. As Eversource places the transmission lines into the ground, sections of Bruce Park will be closed to the public. As much of the ground at Bruce Park and other areas along the transmission line route is rocky, Eversource may pour chemicals into the ground to expedite clearing these rocks. These chemicals can seep into our soil and enter the ponds at Bruce Park and ultimately the Long Island Sound, poisoning them. This can have significant unforeseen consequences, ones that we may regret for generations to come. Like with Bruce Park, installing the transmission lines will require a lot of trenching work. As Eversource does this, residents will be inconvenienced, having to use alternative routes to enter and exit their homes and places of work. Emergency response will be delayed and may result in otherwise avoidable consequences. As Eversource digs a trench and builds its plant along Railroad Avenue, retail businesses along that street will be severely impacted. While access to these businesses is severely restricted, their customers are likely to seek alternative sources for the products and services they buy. When this happens, these businesses bear significant risk that their customers will change their shopping habits and may never come back. Currently, this area is attractive to young professionals and young families seeking easy access to the train station and a quieter suburban way of life. The power station will make the area less desirable for the following reasons. The area will be less suburban due to the loss of family-friendly pet pantry warehouse. The power station poses a potential health risk, and also the power station will be an eyesore. The consensus statement from a sample survey of property appraisers about the marketability of the area is as follows. Prices will be driven down if you have to pass the station on your way to and from home, and properties that will be hardest hit are those with lines of sight to the station and those from which the station can be heard. Another issue is that this proposal binds Greenwich to outdated technology. Eversource's infrastructure and business model has not changed for many generations. It is not designed to integrate with the technological revolution occurring in home-generated power. The innovation in home-generated power is now beginning to show the kind of capability and price competitiveness that households demand. It also does not rely on environmental degradation, political stability in the Middle East, or ugly infrastructure. For instance, contrast the elegance of Tesla's $3,500 Powerwall, which stores energy from rooftop solar panels, versus the intrusiveness of Eversource's power station. To conclude our presentation, we want to leave you with a few parting thoughts. Why is this proposal such an urgent matter for Eversource? While we don't dispute that Eversource operates close to peak capacity, 135 volt amps, during the hottest summer months, we can point out that the 1% growth rate in energy demand does not make a compelling case for urgent response. Moreover, Eversource's proposal appears to conflict with its intent to remove capacity, all 67.1 megavolt amps, at its Byram and Prospect Street substations. We asked town residents to consider the potential motivation for this proposal. The electrical utility industry is about to face a threat similar to what traditional telephone companies faced with the introduction of cell phones, namely competitive rooftop solar. Electrical utilities have not solved how to integrate these home-generated power systems into their distribution system. We suspect this may be a preemptive move on part of Eversource. For more information, we ask that you view the following PBS News video, which describes the battle Honolulu residents are waging with their local utility company concerning their rooftop systems. Two, does the proposed bulk station increase the amount of energy coming to Greenwich? The purpose of this new bulk station is not to generate more energy to meet Greenwich's growing energy demand. It's to increase stability. Given its stated purpose, it's not surprising then that the proposed bulk station only has a projected 30-year life before it can no longer meet the town's 1% annual growth rate in energy demand. 3. Why must the bulk station be sited on 290 Railroad Avenue? Eversource cites that it needs to be there because demand is greatest in downtown Greenwich and Byram. However, it also cites it needs the bulk station to supply energy to a number of developments filed with Town Hall. Many of these are scattered throughout town. In reality, the bulk station can be placed anywhere, even outside of Greenwich, as its primary purpose is to relieve Cobb Station when its circuits are overloaded. This is what happened when Tomac Substation and Greenwich Substation moved its load to large substation in Stamford. 4. Why do we believe Eversource should be more collaborative with our town and our community? While Eversource is a publicly owned company accountable to its shareholders, it also chose to be a regulated utility. Eversource made a conscious decision to divest itself of the unregulated aspects of its business, that is, power generation. The reason for this is that Eversource wanted a guaranteed rate of return. It does not want profits to be subject to the volatility of energy markets. In exchange for this guaranteed rate of return, Eversource chose to be a quasi-governmental entity. Doing so made Eversource accountable not only to its shareholders, but also to the communities it serves. So how can you help? Stay informed. Please visit us at our website, gaspct.com, and visit us frequently. Talk to and organize your neighbors, and discuss with your elected officials. We have provided a list of our state officials as well as our town ones, and please write to them and to the local newspaper. And most importantly, attend and speak out at the Connecticut Siting Council public hearing in Greenwich, the date of which will be announced. So here is the Eversource timeline. And there are 2 dates you need to be aware of. 1, the Greenwich open house, and 2, the Connecticut Siting Council public hearing in our town. If you're opposed to Eversource's proposal, we ask you do 2 things. 1, between the open house and the public hearing dates, rally your neighbors to oppose this project and speak with your representatives. 2, speak out at the Connecticut Siting Council public hearing. We can defeat Eversource's proposal only if we make our presence known and our opposition clear. Are we going to decide the fate of our community, or are we going to let Eversource make that decision for us? If we are to defeat this proposal, we need to demonstrate emphatically to our town, to our state, to the Connecticut Siting Council, and to Eversource that we refuse to leave our community's fate to others. Our fate is ours alone, and only ours to make.